transfers. Nothing to see here, please.
For what? Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America?
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It feels like forever since I got to hang out with Max. We were talking about it backstage before we started. Max, you were telling me about your second week of grad school. How are you doing? Thanks for being here tonight. What's going on?
Of course, no. Oh my gosh, dude. I always have such a fun time here, and I feel robbed every week that I'm only able to do an hour now. But it's because of grad school, like you were saying, and classes have been actually very informative. They've been really encouraging, and they're giving me resources, and they're giving me knowledge, surprisingly, that I can take and actually apply into the real world. Who would have thought? So there are still things that uh, personalities and ideologies and stuff that I don't agree with, but that's university as we know it. And we've been talking for over half a year, specifically on your channel, about this kind of stuff. So it's pretty interesting to see it firsthand, but that's all right. Learning a lot. So thanks for asking though, man. And like I said, it's always fun to be here.
No, it's great to see you. Yeah, I watched your reviews after you were out of the theater. You and I were texting after the Rings of Power, and then I watched it the subsequent night. And this is a true story. Max and I have not had an opportunity to talk together about the Rings of Power. This is not going to be a Rings of Power show, but we will cover some interesting new information that came up with that later in the show for a little bit. I'm glad that you're here. Hail to you, Max. Sorry for streaming against you during the House of the Dragon time.
No, not at all.
No, I blame HBO, but I regret not being able to. That's why we're here. Anyway, I'm being rude as ever to the most lovely British redhead I know, by the name of Purple Valkyrie. How are you doing, Purple Valkyrie?
Good evening. It's so good to be back. It's Tuesday. How is everybody?
Yay! It's wonderful.
I'm doing well.
I'm semi-fascist, and California is on a tier 2. If we lose Max, you know why? Because your power grid is about to explode, isn't it, Max? Isn't it? This is the IRL, right?
We're on a one-way electric car to hell.
Max and I will be sharing the same battery pretty soon to charge stuff with.
Yeah, seriously.
You got to get one of those Fred Flintstone cars where you use your feet with the big stone wheels. You can do that, or ride horses, or there isn't this thing called the combustion engine, where even if you don't want to use gasoline, you could use liquid natural gas. And North America only has 175,000 years of it in the ground. But that's why they call me Ultra MAGA. Look at everybody we've got in chat. Hail to everyone who's here. I've been popping you guys out. We have Sarah Garian. Hello, what's going on? Making a grand entrance. Wait, where's my confetti? I don't know. That's between you and your doctor, Sarah Garian. Hail to Magitech Mags. Fantastic to see you giving out those virtual hugs. Hail to Psycho Dwarf 9. Psycho Dwarf 9. Great to see you. And, of course, we've got Matt Jones, Nosferatu the Vampire. This is a cat who brings the R-rated humor to the chat. You all are lucky tonight to have him in your midst. It's wonderful to see you. Hail to Silverlock, sir. It's wonderful to have you here. Of course, our Sheriff Punkwaddle, he and I have been having soulful conversations on Twitter. We had a very traumatic live stream Saturday night, and we've been bonding quite a bit, me and the Penguin. I'm not saying it's a Lionel Richie love song, but it's getting close. It's wonderful to see you, Punk Bottom. And of course, we have Jaden Hamilton in the house as well. I think I've covered everybody. Oh, wait, we've got Abomination AJ in the house. AJ, man, if you want to come on second hour, hit me up on Twitter, man. Let's talk some of this stuff. We're going to start out with something that's probably near and dear to your heart, sir, and it has to do with Henry Cavill. But let me reach out and say hello to Matt. Abomination AJ, dude, it's great to have you here. You are an outstanding content creator, and I look forward to us working together. Hail to Matt, Unbearable 73. Or we could just build nuclear plants and have cheap, clean, reliable power. But see, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're a phobe. For the same reasons you don't like the Rings of Power, you don't like common sense. And I have to stop talking, otherwise I'll just weep like a small child. Hello to Jacob Ironside. All right, what do you say? Instead of you guys just looking at my ugly mug, let's put an article on the screen and do this thing called the pop culture war. Here we go. This one kind of blew me away. Guys, I sent this out, but if I hear one more rumor about where the Henry Cavill is going to be, I think I may. All I know is Henry Cavill is in another season of that Enola Holmes, which is, again, race swapped, gotta make Sherlock Holmes' sister be smarter than actual Sherlock Holmes, and has someone like, I read Sherlock Holmes, Conan Doyle all the time. I find that incredibly offensive. But you guys, do you believe this? Has anybody else heard this rumor for the second season of House of the Dragon, which I'm enjoying immensely for the most part? Do we think that Henry Cavill is going to cross fantasy platforms from The Witcher to go be on another fantasy property? House of the Dragon? Let's start with that one. What do you think about that, Max?
I mean, I haven't watched any House of the Dragon, unfortunately, but Henry Cavill in anything is just a yes for me. It's just an automatic
Yeah.
yes. I think that whenever he's on screen, he commands presence, and he is so like the word I'm looking for is he's got a lot of charisma. That's what I'm looking for. Even when he's like evil, like because there was an article we covered, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where they're thinking about making him an evil superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even if they did that, people would be, yeah, Hyperion. And I would still be like, yeah, I'd probably root for him because he's just got that charm. He's got that presence when he's on film. So I would love to see him in anything he does. And he'd probably bring butts to the seats if he did. Men
Yeah.
and women. Men want to be
Agreed.
him. Women want to be with him.
Exactly. And Leia Rose might be in the latter category. She says Henry Cavill is a hottie. I think you've pretty much hit a home run on that comment, Leah Ray's. Purple Valkyrie, what is your feeling about this rumor for Henry Cavill? I know you have caught up now with the House of the Dragon. You were with us on the live watch I was doing with Prophet of the Dragon on Sunday in chat, and thank you for staying up for Oh Dark 30. What do you think about Henry Cavill potentially being in House of the Dragon?
Well, first of all, I concur with Leia. He is indeed a hottie, and if he does make this leap to House of the Dragon, I think that would be fantastic because he is woefully underused in The Witcher. It would be nice to see, the main character in this show, but that's not the direction that they're going. So bring him on, please. And the idea of him playing a villain, I think, is fascinating because you think of him playing all these heroic, very stand-up characters. I think he could really pull it off. Even if it's kind of a, poking fun at characters he's played in the past.
Yeah. When I look at Henry Cavill, for those of you who have seen Ralph Bakshi's Fire and Ice, there is a barbarian that helps fight against the dark magician who's in this big ice tower thing that his mother is an evil witch and all this stuff. There's only one man in Hollywood right now that I could see playing that character of that barbarian, and that would be Henry Cavill. But then again, do we really want anything like that in current year Hollywood? I would watch Henry Cavill build a computer from scratch. Oh, wait, I did that.
Heck yes.
Look at this guy. I'm what they call ultra state, and I'm like, dude, let's hang out and go shooting. Let's go deer hunting, then let's go drink beer, and then let's play pool, and then let's watch
Go play
football.
D&D, yes.
And then and then we can take apart, we can disassemble our desktops and replace the motherboard, put new chips in to upgrade the RAM. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of dude that you want in the zombie apocalypse, is a cat like Henry Cavill. Hail to Kayla Dare. It's great to see you. Hail to Doviandis, Tovius again. Hail to Jay, the deep-minded, who's making some absolutely fantastic jewelry these days. You guys are absolutely fantastic. If I missed you, it's not intentional. It's that our restream is problematic. We'll just say that. So hail to you guys. Hail to the Peter Venkman fan site. It's great to see you. She's a wonderful voice, not just in this chat, but geez, I've seen her over on Snowdub's channel. I see her over at Zaxx live streams. I see him on yours, Purple. It's so great to see you. Yeah, Abomination AJ says, I haven't seen his acting range enough. I don't just want to see him as a Marvel Superman. I'm going to punt this one to you, Max. Tell me about this. We talked about Hyperion, like, what was it, a week ago? 2 weeks ago? I mean,
Yeah,
it's like a B tier. I want triple A. I want James Bond Henry Cavill. I want Henry Cavill up there, you know, at the top. I don't want him to be basic bitch B list, but what's your take on this?
I mean, Squadron Supreme, maybe even like C level, because you have like Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, all A tier teams. And then you have like Defenders, which is maybe more like B level. But then you have like Squadron Supreme, and that's like, I don't know. But I mean, with all that being said, AJ, yeah, brother, you know, it's tough because me personally, I think I've seen enough range from him, his portrayal of Superman, with his portrayal of Geralt, with his portrayal in Man from U.N.C.L.E., that I think that he can do a lot of different things. And so if Marvel utilizes him correctly, they won't just make him another joke in the film, you know, like they tend to do with every male hero. So I don't know. Yeah, I would love to see more from him, whatever it is, even if it's just more Henry Cavill, or more of his style of acting. I just, like Purple said, we're not even getting it in Witcher. So like,
No.
even if he is playing more of Geralt, we're not seeing enough of it. So you know, more Henry Cavill. I was going to ask the two of you though. So I did not watch the Game of Thrones first. See, I saw season 1 and I never went back. It never drew me like a lot of my other friends, and it was the time that I was still heavily involved in the Marine Corps and everything. So with that being said, could I dip into House of the Dragon? Never have seen anything except for season 1 from the original Game of Thrones series. And do you guys think I'd be able to pick up?
That's what I did, because I never watched the television show. I never saw 1 minute of it. I might have seen like occasional nudie shots from the show that were all over the place because, you know, I like naked women. Sue me. I'm a toxic man. But I never watched an actual episode. So I came to the House of the Dragon with Steve Prophet of the Dragon. No relation. But we started watching the show and I expected to hate it, because of all the things that everyone had said about how Game of Thrones kind of went downhill after season 4, which is understandable. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of evidence. You know, I would read articles in the newspaper about how they were leaving Starbucks cups on the set and they were left in the shop. So I went into this expecting to be like, oh, it's going to be bitch made. It's not going to be great. And to my surprise, I really liked it. And I really liked it for all the reasons that I have talked about on my show, not liking fantasy properties before this. It was a lived-in world. It was a large world. The casting was perfect. The delivery of the lines and the pacing, these people existed. I believe that they were who they said they were. It wasn't, we need diversity candidate 1 here, we need representation character there, and they're going to do this. It's not going to mean anything because they're talking like this. They're not having a conversation. They're like, oh yeah, I'm black lady and I'm this and I'm tranny and all this other stuff. Nobody cares, right? But there's swords and there's, you know, there's like dragons and everything, but it's like, show is good. So that's a very long-winded Corey answer to I think you'd enjoy it, Max. I think you would.
I would love to get into it and watch it. Purple, what do you think? Were you a kind of was this a new introduction to you as well? Or
No, I watch Game of Thrones. I
okay,
think a lot of people forget that even though the later seasons were pretty terrible because they really really wanted that Star Wars thing and they did not care about Game of Thrones, especially by season 8. The first
right?
4 seasons were fantastic TV. They really are
Yeah.
good. And this House of the Dragon has the exact same feel, and people are you've got to separate the two because there is no crossover with the people behind the scenes making these two shows. It's just set in the same world. But I think you really enjoy it. I was surprised. I was a bit skeptical. I didn't think much of the trailer when it first came out. I really didn't particularly like Matt Smith's character, but I
Mhm.
was wrong. He is the best thing about this show.
Yeah. Yeah. I expected not to like Matt Smith. And I said it in my first couple episodes, but I said this is the first role that I've seen Matt Smith in where I don't go, that sounds like Doctor Who. Matt Smith is Damon. Matt Smith is no longer Doctor Who. Like this cat has
Mm.
transcended, in my opinion. This is one dude's opinion. I really like what they did. I do have some criticisms of the show 3 episodes in, but it is I gave the first episode an 8, the second episode is 7.5, the last episode is 6.5. But that's because every time they start a season there are time jumps. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of conversation now. It's not necessarily exposition. It is done in concert with other things that are happening, but they kind of have to get you up to speed for the year jumps, and it's going to be
Mhm.
doing that throughout the whole season. But it is a great show. It's not talk, talk, talk. It is a lot of world building, but man, the action sequences are off the charts, dude.
Mhm.
Totally off the charts.
And the settings look amazing. I rewatched the third episode earlier today, and there's a scene on the beach, and it just looks incredible. The detail that they've put into this set is amazing.
That was the thing that I was noticing because I keep seeing screenshots and screen caps and all kinds of different little snippets of the show itself. And
Mhm.
every time I see that, I go, man, why am I not watching this? Because it looks beautiful. And it's not like uh because there's CGI dragons and massive world building, like set landscapes and everything. I keep seeing over and over again. There's like this almost cathedral looking throne room, and I'm just like, oh
Dude,
my god, that looks
dude.
so intricate and well made, and it looks real. Like it looks like
And
they're there.
we nerded out. We nerded out on Nerdtorial's channel because he does an after show watch after we watch live. And dude,
Mm.
if you're ever free on a Sunday night or want to come to the after party or whatever it is, dude, I would love to have you on. And um, but when they're in that cathedral, there is smoke from the tallow candles in the atmosphere of this
Oh
cathedral,
wow,
which the walls are stained with centuries of tallow from the candle. It
that's
is,
cool.
and the stone has been unevenly worn by the hands of worship. It's like worshipers. It is so completely different in such a stark departure from what you got with the very sterile. Everything has a right angle. Everything looks very pristine and is very bright in a Chronicles of Narnia kind of a way that you
Mm.
got with the Rings of Power. Where the Rings of Power to me, we're not going to go down that road. I'm just putting there as like a stake in the ground is the Rings of Power feels to me like a bunch of mannequins in AI trying to make Tolkien.
Yeah.
The House of the Dragon feels like a dirty old town that
Mhm.
has had thousands of generations of people come through places and live there. And the armor looks used, the swords look used. It looks real. I don't know how else to say it.
And I don't want to keep on the point of if you want to move on. So let me know when I need to shut
It's
up.
okay.
But yeah, the other thing that I noticed was like the all the costuming and the design, not necessarily the armor per se, but even just like the little leather work and the things on the costumes of some of the characters that I've
Oh
seen
yeah.
in
Yeah.
screenshots looks heavy. Like it looks like it has weight to it. It looks like it was produced by something or someone, as opposed to, like you said, Rings of Power just feels like every costume choice was it looks very light. It looks like the texture
Mm-hmm.
and the fabric is like um community theater. It looks like they went
It
to
does.
Joanne's fabric shop, and purple.
Dude.
It's a really cheap fabric
You're
shop
right,
here in
dude.
the US. And I don't know why or how or who, what, when, where, why, like all the W questions. But like, and that's the other thing that I thought was interesting too, is like the difference between a world that looks lived in with House of the Dragon, which I can already like I've just been seeing clips, or Rings of Power, which I've seen both episodes twice now. And there's a difference between a world that feels lived in and a world that's just filthy. And I don't get, like we were talking behind the scenes, I just
Oh, yeah,
don't
the dirty
understand why
hobbits.
they've chosen to made the hobbits absolutely filthy and disgusting, and the Mordor country, MAGA white men in Mordor, absolutely filthy and disgusting as well, because it doesn't feel
Because they're
lived in,
white?
it just feels disgusting. Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I agree.
So
I mean,
but yeah,
I
no,
agree.
I'd
Reminded
love to
me
see
of
the show.
Monty Python,
Yes. Oh, bring out your
It did.
dad.
Bring out
It
your dad.
totally did. It totally
Everyone's
did.
just
I want to
disgusted. Yeah.
let me shout out Zaxx. Zaxx is in the house, dude. Great to see you, my Canadian friend. Hail to you. We were just talking about
Hey,
Henry Cavill. Go ahead. It's all right.
I'm sorry I'm late. My wife is still vacuuming right here, so it's going to be a bit of a of a fun ride right now. I waited as long as I could though, so
No, it's all
I'm
right.
here.
I'm just gonna say that you just went on the channel and talked about how your wife is vacuuming. So way to represent the patriarchy
That's
up
right.
there in Canada. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I
just wish she
wanna
could be
share this
quieter
with
about
you.
it. That's all.
I know, right? This got sent to me by everybody's friend Nathan Amanda Manethrin today. He's like, look at what the immersive world of the Rings of Power was. This.
Yeah, I saw that.
Every single thing is CG. Every single thing. They weren't on an ocean, despite being in New Zealand. Look at this. They're hanging out on a soundstage, having a little slumber party, waiting for the hot pockets to come up from mom so they can go back to watching, Degrassi High or something. It's like, what the hell am I looking at? I don't know.
All that money built and spent on building a studio there too, and like this is what they built.
Yeah.
Well, Zaxx, you did a fantastic video on what's that
The
dumb
volume.
The volume, yes, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's this new tool that is now being overutilized, and it's not a tool anymore; it's a crutch. And so yeah, I think that they're overutilizing that volume. Now, they've done stuff like Master and Commander, which is a beautiful film, and it looks very, very real. And I'm sure that at some point, I'm assuming they were filming out on the open ocean. So I'm wondering if they utilized the volume here to make it more serene, because they were on the open ocean. It's going to be choppy. It's going to have more world, aspects to it. So I wonder if they did that, but even still, I don't know. This looks very bland.
I'm starting to wonder how much they actually were on the water, because they built that big, ridiculous pool on the inside of a soundstage there in New Zealand, only to abandon it when their tax breaks got taken away by New Zealand. Now, I don't have any love for the government of New Zealand for very obvious reasons we cannot talk about. Wicked Witch of the West, WEF. But, I just, watching the Rings of Power, and we'll get into it more, I was shocked in ways that I didn't expect.
What I want to say about this technique they're using is that for first-time showrunners who have no experience and directors who I've never heard of, for the most part, to shoot these scenes, and the temptation is already, well, we'll fix it in post, right? And so this is all going to be fixed in post, but you can't fix personalities in post. And they didn't get performances from their actors. You can't fix that in post. And so I think this lends to that. I think if you put them on the water, maybe Morford Clark gives you a better performance as Galadriel, right? Like,
I agree. Agreed.
This doesn't help anyone.
Agreed.
I really want to get hold of one end of that boat and just tip it so they all slide down the other end and see what happens.
You know what it looks
pretty funny.
It looks like a kid's playland in a seafood joint, like
Oh my
Captain
God.
D's
No,
or
you're
Long
so
John
right.
Silver's. Like it just needs a little
Yes.
slide with a like a plastic octopus on
The
it, and
ball
like
pit.
and a little pirate guy, like a little what was it, Mayor McCheese? What was the name of the pirate in the old McDonald's commercial from the 70s? Chat's gonna know. Captain Fish or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Purple does that a lot, Daniel. She nailed it with Monty Python. That's the way the Hobbits kind of looked. It really was. I was waiting for them to go, bring out your dead, bring out your dead. Yeah, this is horrifying. We're going to get off this. We're going to start talking about Henry Cavill. So what's interesting about this Henry Cavill going to House of the Dragon season 2 is it's not just Henry Cavill. Elizabeth Olsen, the most popular character in the entire MCU, guys. The Scarlet Witch. Hello.
Ooh.
Patriarchy, take that. She is also rumored to be part of season 2. So yeah, Henry Cavill, they're saying he might be in House of the Dragon, but they're also saying Henry Cavill might be in the MCU, and there's apparently, Max, a big announcement coming at Saturday's Marvel Studios panel at the D23 Expo next weekend. Now, pretend I don't know what D23 Expo means. Do you know what that means, Max? Does anybody on the panel know what that means?
I think it's just another convention. I would have to actually look it up. Just take my
It
nerd
is.
card from
It's
me.
Disney.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
Disney
it's,
show.
it's similar to the DC fandom event. Basically, it's all the upcoming films, TV shows, basically anything that Disney have in the pipeline that they want to tease people with.
Speaking of which, DC just canked their DC fandom event, from what I remember reading.
Yeah, they did.
I have been here. Okay, I have to be real careful. There's a friend of this channel who's been talking a lot,
Uh-oh.
a lot about this and the Snyderverse and DC and what's going to happen and all those other things. I want all of that friend's dreams to come true. I do. I think what is happening at Warner Brothers is more complicated than we realize. And that's part of the reason I have not spent a lot of time covering it. And I just want to call out Nosferatu the Vampire. He says, Gladriel looked like she was at Red Lobster at the playground, not Captain D's. That was actually pretty damn funny. You guys meme stuff out there. That would be really, really cool. What was I talking about? I just got stream brain.
DC fandom event and the DC or Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah. So that guy, and it's actually, we can bring it up now. Dan Lin. He was the guy that was going to come in and be DC's Kevin Feige. He then opened his mouth and was actually crapping on people who were supporters of the Snyderverse and calling them bots and trolls and racist and misogynist, because what is really successful in Hollywood is calling the fans, the people who buy your products and consume your products, calling them names. I mean, it worked for Kenobi, right? It worked for the Rings of Power, right? It worked for She-Hulk, right? So apparently this guy was going to keep doing it with this brand new Snyderverse, non-Snyderverse, depending on where the hell the wind goes, just doing it again. Well, this guy is not going to take over. Dan Lin is out. They broke off negotiations as of, I thought it was 3:00 today. So the search is still on for that. Thank you very much, Zaxx. We have a channel member chat from Kayla Dare, who's been a my member for 6 months. That blows my mind. I'm honored, Kaylee, that you have stuck here. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for meeting Purple and I in Dallas and hanging out with your husband. It was great to see you. Hail to you.
It was.
I'm sorry 2022 has been a difficult year, and I'm glad that we're here, and I hope we can make you laugh and realize you're part of this community, and we're really glad that you're here. So thank you for that. You've been a channel member for 7 months at the Deveran level. You say Rings of Power was so boring and torture to watch. That was the problem. It was boring. It was absolutely effing boring. You guys are all over the place here. Magitech Mag says, I know Irish whiskey is blended often, but you could still have more respect than these showrunners. Fair. Punkwaddle, thank you for derailing. I love when you do that, brother. I love talking about whiskey. Punkwaddle, we need to talk about whiskey more. Less feelings, more whiskey. That's my motto in life. This is a super chat from Taker610 for $5, who says, I saw a post on Facebook written in poor grammar that compared Aragorn in Arwen to Arondir in Bronwyn.
Tits out for Bronwyn.
Tits out for Bronwyn.
Yes.
I like that. I love that she's showing her support for women in Iran by having her cleavage out as much as possible. And it was funny because you can see in some shots they're like, no, get that out more. Come on, get it out more. And anyway, there's only one response. J.K. Simmons laugh meme. It's true.
Nice.
Let's
Hey,
talk
I mean, if
about
that's what she calls activism, I'm on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thing.
Sorry, I got boob brain. I just had stream brain. Now I had Bronwyn's boob brain live.
Yeah,
Sorry, what
no,
were you saying?
I don't blame
Let me
you.
think. Yeah.
Because you were basically saying like, oh yeah, it's funny that she's in every interview she's like, I'm a large activist, and like as she went to University of California, Irvine, which is like one of the most prestigious and like pretentious, very rich schools here in Orange County. And she's like, activism is my, passion and all this stuff. It's like, all right, okay. But yeah, her activism is like, representation, and by showing
She's representing boobs, yes.
Yeah, boobs, then hey, I'm all about it.
Free the nipple, guys. Don't be so istophobic. Free the nipple, Bronwyn. Stop reinforcing the patriarchy. Let's
Morphy
get topless.
Clark already got there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I guess. Wow,
Sort
I
of.
want to make jokes. I want to
I
make
think
jokes.
if you pause it maybe just right, there might be one they forgot to digitally remove. But I mean, maybe I checked. I'm not confirming I did.
Maybe Zaxx went frame by frame. I mean,
it's possible
at this point. But
hey, Max, we're wearing shirts tonight.
We are, unfortunately, we got the stream demonetized on my channel because we were just too sexy. So I didn't want to do that for Salty. I wanted to be respectful, and
that's okay.
Team player.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been sitting here thinking about Bronwyn and making jokes about the Egg McMuffins of Gladriel versus the lumberjack breakfast of Bronwyn, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, I went there. Hail to you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Henry Cavill's going to be on this. I think a lot of people say a lot of stupid things, and this is one of them. Henry Cavill, like we talked about, is also said to be cast on, God help us, Loki season 2 as Hyperion. We talked about that. Henry Cavill is involved with Argyle, the Rosie Project, the Highlander, and the Squadron 42 video game. So he's also doing Enola Holmes. He's also doing season 3 of The Witcher. So I don't know if he's going to be on House of the Dragon. I would like him to be there. Look, it's the most popular character in Marvel cinema history. Oh, you know what that face is. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Yeah. Where are my 2 imaginary kids? I'm crazy. Where are my 2 imaginary kids? God, what
I think that was that was the scene where she's lecturing Doctor Strange and saying, Doctor Strange is saying like, your pain or your suffering is understandable. Like it's justified. And she's like, you don't know because you've only seen me be merciful or something like that. And everyone's like, merciful? You've been killing innocents this entire time and captured and enslaved an entire town and hid their children in small rooms. Probably one of the most evil MCU villains to date. Ever. Yeah, no one's seen what Scarlet Witch has seen except for Gladriel, because no one's seen what Gladriel has seen. No one has seen the things that she's seen. Let's go down through the checklist. We've got a woman, we have a white woman, and it's a biologically born woman, so they ovulate, and I don't care, take my channel. And that's apparently your qualifications. That's what Marvel Phase 4 has been. That's what a lot of our entertainment has been, right? They cut the nuts off of men. They give the negative characteristics of men and immature male characters to women and call that strong, independent women. And men are either stupid or even in the background. We're now going to Phase 5 on this, where it's going to be they, them. It's going to be other.
It's weird. People
At
don't like
least,
making money. They don't. Sorry.
At least Charlie Cox and Daredevil will be lectured on his privilege of not being able to see his disability.
Can't you see your white privilege?
Yeah.
I'm blind, bitch. What are you talking about? I
Exactly.
want that line. I want that line.
Oh, please. Daredevil
God.
should say something like that.
But are they going to get mad because he's not really blind?
Oh.
Ooh, they're going to say that he's not actually disabled.
That's right.
It's ableist, yeah.
Wow. Zaxx playing 4D chess over here.
That's right.
Oh
Mm.
my gosh.
Hail to Snowdub. I want to shout you out. Hail to Nordporeal Lifeform, who is making a boob joke as well. Thanks. You're in good company here. And Sarah Garian, our female representation among many in my fandom, says you're just keeping abreast of the situation. It's one thing I like. It's to keep abreast, if you know what I mean. I like this. Let's just do a live show about boob jokes all night. You know,
boob jokes are always good.
You know what? And here's the thing. If we did that, it would be more faithful to Tolkien than what the Rings of Power was. Yeah. Think about that one for a second. Tell me I'm wrong. You guys in chat are absolutely fantastic. Great to see you here. Everybody's popping in. I am trying to keep up.
We've got a birthday girl in the chat as well.
Ooh.
Oh, you go ahead and shout her out first, and I'll allow you to sing or nominate Zaxx to sing or somebody to sing.
Yes, we have got Squeaker in the chat. Great to see you, sweetheart. And it is her birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Please put an endless stream of birthday cakes, balloons, and what other emo joys that you can to the one and only Squeaka. Squeaka's been having... She moved. She's having some professional challenges right now. Don't think that we're not paying attention, Squeaka. You have been a longtime friend to this channel, myself, to just about everybody here, and countless people in chat. Your sense of humor, your warmness, your bourbon drinking, your great takes have been... I'm honored to call you friend, and I look forward to playing Dungeons & Dragons with you tomorrow night. I mean this sincerely. Thank you for being my friend, Squeaka, and I hope you have a really happy birthday. Truly.
Amen. Happy birthday.
Do you not celebrate birthdays in Canada, Zaxx? Tell Squeaka happy birthday. Jesus.
I am putting together the longest chat message involving cakes you can possibly imagine.
Oh, right, okay. All right. Never mind.
So, you know what? I'm going to put a pancake in there too, just for her. So happy birthday, Squeaka. You're awesome.
Do you want to share that on screen? I love it. We're talking about birthdays and boobs. It's like a double B. What's the third B?
And bourbon.
Oh, there it is. This is like Sesame Street. Tonight's show is brought to you by the letter B. Bourbon. Birthday. Sorry,
bourbon
my brain
birthday.
Bourbon. Boobs. Bourbon. Birthday. That sounds like a perfect birthday. Never mind.
Sounds good to me.
That does sound like a pretty good birthday.
I know, right, dude? Put some boobs in my face, some bourbon in my glass, and some birthday cake, bitches. That's all I'm saying.
And I hope her move went well and that her job stuff sorts itself out because we miss having her around.
We do.
Yes, absolutely.
Hail to you.
Just quit your job.
Yeah, that works out well these days, especially going into a global recession. Look at all this. Look at all the love we've got going around here. Squeak is saying Max. Yeah, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Squeak a Mouse. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
Cheers.
Look at Notoria. We're not talking about chicken breasts. We're talking about boobs, man. Get with the program over here.
But he said he ate it abreast, so I'm guessing he means sideways across something.
Oh, I thought you were Army Hammer for a second there. You get that one? Yeah, I went there. You're very welcome, Squeaka. And yeah, we're all over the place. You know what? Sometimes I just want to have a show where I don't have to be all on top of everything all the time. We're just going to kind of wander and meander here. The world is in a weird place. You guys picked up on that lately? Just really weird. Just really weird. I keep waiting for like Demon Spawn to burst out of the walls of the Walmart and start running around waving Brandon 2024 flags and all that stuff. But
they turn that Hadron Collider up to 11 and they'll probably do it. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salty, you're not wrong. I mean, even when my church starts having the most recent like few weeks, the sermons have been under the they've been calling it like the class that we've been doing. They've been calling it "Is it our job to save the world?" And that's the title
Oh,
that each one of these
wow.
sermons are presented under.
Really?
And so when you know that even the church is like, guys, things are fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you know that, yeah, this is not a good time. Like, this is a
Yeah.
very dark time in history.
And I'm
Yeah.
guessing you're not talking about recycling and super gluing your ass to a chair in Parliament. Like something important, like saving the world, right? You know,
Well, that's,
like
yeah, that's the
real.
question, is like, we
Yeah.
feel inadequate because we can't save the world. We aren't Superman. So what do we do instead? We try and overcompensate by gluing our butts to a chair in Parliament, or what you said,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
putting activist in our Twitter bio, even though we're an actor. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do all sorts of stuff that make us feel like we are worth something, or that we are changing the world, when in all actuality, we are a small part of this massive, I don't want to call it machine, but yeah. So
Yeah.
Well said, Max.
yeah.
I love when you bring in the things that have to do with faith in the IRL, because there is a very large part of this country that has nothing to do with Hollywood or New York or Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, those groups seem to want to delete us for whatever reason, even though we pay all the bills and we fight the wars and we do all the things and we make their shitty corporations run and all the other stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I have to stop talking because they're
And you
already
make the
going to come
food.
and get it.
You also make the
Well,
food.
we make the food, we grow the
Mhm.
food, we also raise the children, we also raise the animals while they let us. Although I hear there's big money in cricket farms these days. Good luck with that one. Let me get to Snowdove for $2. He says my same weekly super chat. It's a running joke with Snowdub and I. He sends me $2. I send him $2 back on Friday. Tag. We had an amazing show on Saturday. If you haven't seen it, over the top. I had a gag where I was wearing a bloody bandage on my head that I had been in a car accident and had amnesia. So I didn't know that Amazon had made the Rings of Power. And I talked about how excited I was and how could they F this up. So really good show with a bunch of psychotic puppets, very R-rated humor. I highly recommend it. Also, everyone in this panel, go tell Snowdub you want to be on his show because he loves fresh meat. He loves new victims. Everyone should work with that group of puppets at least once. I'm only kidding a
supposed to
little bit.
be
You should,
on Floral's show in a couple of weeks, so I'm easing my way into that world.
yeah. Floral's a
What
good
do
way
I
to
have
go.
to know? What do I have to know?
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Condoms?
No, I hate to interrupt, but I mean, this isn't scripted. This is literal. This is live on air. I
What
just
do you
got an
got?
emergency alert from California. Conserve energy now to protect public health and safety. Extreme heat is straining the state energy grid. Power interruptions may occur unless you take action. Turn off or reduce non-essential power that if health allows. Okay, good. And we'll all have power grid cars by 2035, and yet we
Yeah.
can't even keep our electricity on this year.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
California. Sorry.
No,
I said, you
no.
can't script this stuff. You can't make it.
No, you can't.
make it.
And this is a guy who also blamed the forest burning down due to global warming when really it was mismanagement. This is someone who said the drought was caused by not enough water because he let all the water run out of the reservoirs into the ocean. And now he's doing this. God, I want to do a political show, but I can't because YouTube will. They'll send 96,000 new IRS agents to my house, and all of them
They might.
just to my house. They really, really will. So, yeah. At some point, we're going to finish this article about Elizabeth Olsen, but she's really so inconsequential. You know, the terrible thing is I think Elizabeth Olsen's actually a decent actress. I do. In some of the other roles, I think she was in the first couple of movies she was in the MCU. What they've turned her into, like so many other women characters, is an ideological battering ram to hit you in the nuts with and to challenge you and to get you talking about ideology and not about comic book superhero stories. It's a shame, but like I've said for Morford Clark, at some point we have to recognize that there are willful collaborators with what they're doing with ESG. Now, if she didn't take this role, another actress would, right? And that's the really terrible thing. Hollywood is being run by the same method that ESG scores are used in corporate America. One of the things that is occurring is executive bonuses are tied to hitting the ESG scores. That's why Disney is doing what they're doing. That's why a lot of these entertainment places, Netflix, that's why large corporations, the executives are hired and their compensation is based upon how many boxes they check. It's the box checking on the back end. What happens in the front end with our entertainment is a symptom of that. Until we get that stuff out of these corporate boardrooms and eradicate it, it's never going to change. That's not being dark. It's called being realistic. You know? Elizabeth Olsen, would you like to see her? I'm going to start with you, Purple Valkyrie. Would you like to see her in House of the Dragon Season 2? What do you think about that?
Sure, she could play one of the dragons. That would be great.
Oh, someone has her claws out.
I kid. I do like her as an actress, but I think she's kind of drunk the Kool-Aid a little bit, and she's she's gone down a path that she probably will regret later on in life. And we've seen it with a lot of these actresses, especially ones that have been a part of the MCU. We saw it with Scarlett Johansson complaining about being paid, and I think we're seeing it. Is it Jennifer Lawrence? Is it recently? She's complaining that she's not getting paid the same as her male cohort. Yeah,
that's hysterical because Jennifer Lawrence has lost Hollywood so much money. That's why she got married and got pregnant and got the hell out of the way, because she had flop after flop after flop. And you can always tell they have to claw their way back by preaching whatever the leftist bullshit du jour is. And that's how they have to prove that they're worthy, and then maybe she'll get a role. But she crashed and burned over and over and over again because Hollywood does what Hollywood does best. They exploit young actors and actresses, not just on screen. And then once they've grown tired of them and worn them out and they no longer make all the money, they kick their ass to the curb and grab the next set of bazooms or peen or whatever combination. And I look at Ezra Miller, you know? Tell me why the hell Ezra Miller. Anyway, that's what Jennifer Lawrence is doing. And this is her comeback. She's basing her comeback on hitting all of these talking points. God, I don't know who I would want to be trapped in an elevator with, Mark Ruffalo or Whoopi Goldberg. Think about that one. I'd love to be trapped in an elevator with a single Jennifer Lawrence. But imagine Whoopi Goldberg, she might eat you. Let's be honest about it. If she got hungry, or Mark Ruffalo. I don't know. It's a weird question. And I'm keeping up on chat. You guys are being
like
really
a hell
patient,
dimension
guys.
You've created in the elevator.
Dude, yeah, I'm thinking of like ways of how can I crawl out? Can I just bottom out the elevator?
How do you get at those cables? Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
So when the powers go out, when the power goes out in California, how long until we see Mark Ruffalo complaining about it from his jet? He has to run he has to go run the air conditioning in his jet to get cooled off because you guys won't turn off your power.
I'm waiting for Madonna to be in a bathtub full of ice. It's been 5 minutes. This is so terrible. Oh God. Yeah.
It's the same energy I'm getting from do you guys remember that tweet from Seth Rogen? Is the one where he was talking about LA and he was like, LA is the best city ever, man. I've had my car broken into like 15 times. No big deal. It's like, don't leave stuff in your car. Like, that's the same type of thing I'm getting here, where people just have no self-awareness of like, listen, when you are at a certain status, when you live in Beverly Hills as opposed to downtown LA, there is a massive difference of living situation. They're on their high rises, so they don't care.
And I can guarantee you those mansions have backup generators, much like hospitals do. I guarantee you they have an in-ground diesel tank, or they have an in-ground several 100-gallon natural gas tank that is a full house generator that could probably keep everything running in there for at least 3 days, if not a week, if they were just keeping on basic essentials. I think we all should have things like that.
Celebrities don't do basic essentials.
Yeah. Only 2 jacuzzis going at once. Only 4 color TVs, and you can only use 16 of your 37 bathrooms. So, yeah.
I gotta dip out here in just a little
Oh,
bit,
dude.
but I wanted to mention real quick the Elizabeth Olsen thing. I agree with everyone here on the panel and in chat. I do really enjoy her as an actress, and if you guys remember her in Infinity War and Endgame, she like
Yes.
takes on Thanos single-handed. Like they made her super powerful, and I was loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
Because she's Scarlet Witch is a really really cool character in the Marvel comic book universe. So with that being said, I would love, if we see more of her in House of the Dragon, cool. And same thing, like I said, with Henry Cavill. I think they're fantastic actors and they portray the role that they're given. I mean, everyone, well, for the most part, people hated her in Multiverse of Madness because she was the villain. I did a post about it on Twitter the other day, basically saying, comparing 3 scenes, saying that these females were kind of giving it to their male counterparts, their male heroic counterparts, and giving them this very arrogant lecture of privilege and whatnot.
Then woman-splaining.
Yes. Well, that what was so funny. It was almost like an experiment, like a social experiment, because every female that was in my mentions in that comment section on Twitter was like, I do not feel represented by these women. It was Galadriel, Scarlet Witch, and She-Hulk. And they were like, why do they have to tear down their male counterparts? I don't want anything to do with these female characters. And all the cowardly, whiny men were coming into the mentions going like, this guy's a cuck misogynist. He seems real, he seems like blah blah blah, and
doesn't that cancel each other out?
I'm gonna get back to that super chat, but go ahead,
Yeah.
sir. Go ahead, Max.
No, so I just think it's so funny, like with Scarlet Witch or with Elizabeth Olsen coming into the House of Dragon or whatever. As long as we don't get scenes like that I'd posted the other day, I'm sure we'll be fine. But it is interesting to see that social experiment, the men who come out of the shadows to white knight these women, and it's like, bro, these girls can speak for themselves. They're saying they don't want these female characters, and you keep pushing them on them. Who's the misogynist, right? You know what I mean? So
No, but Max, they got to do something while they're holding their girlfriend's handbag, while she goes and negotiates all the stuff at the bank and pays all the bills. While they're just standing there, with mixed pronouns, holding a very large, expensive purse, and their balls are the size of marbles. They got to do something to flex their limp dicks. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, their girlfriends are on OnlyFans and everything. They're
liberated.
I
want to show you something that you posted on your Twitter today, Max.
Yes. Oh God.
I know you got to go, but this is me. I like to derail everybody's plans. Yeah. Tell me about this character briefly versus Galadriel quickly. The difference between these two women, and these 2 strong female characters. Tell me about which one in your mind is more of a true warrior and a leader. Oh, look, she likes dudes.
That's and a lover.
Yeah.
Just one word, emotions. How about that? She actually has like emotions and can emote on screen. She's also written much better. Like the writers actually know what to do with her. She has a character arc, and she also is able to stand on her own while still being Ragnar's wife and faithful to him. And she later becomes the queen of Kattegat, which is one of the towns in Norway that they had made for the show in Vikings. Yeah, no, she's literally the perfect woman. Catherine Winnick is a gem, the actress, and Lagertha as a character is absolutely perfect as well. Dude, you're taking all you've got Wolverine, you've got Catherine Winnick. What the hell? Yeah. But
you guys got Poutine. Yeah. You guys got Poutine in her. It's not fair. We got Joe Biden, and
So
Oprah
yeah,
Winfrey. You guys got her and Pootie.
and may I say that Purple did a magnificent rendition of this when she did the Northman review. She had her hair very similar, styled and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, she's when people point to female characters and they go like, oh, how can you say that about She-Hulk? She's fun and she's funny and she's meant to be this way and stuff. Or like, how can you say that about Galadriel? I love seeing female representation with her with a sword. We never get females with a sword. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you have a woman here that is written well, that is acted very well, and still loves her man,
Yeah.
loves her town and her people, fights like hell to keep them safe, and is one of the most skilled ones at doing it. She's courageous and beautiful, and she embraces that beauty within her, and physically as well as emotionally. Yeah, it's a really really well done character. Thanks for bringing it up, Salty, because
Palate
I
cleanser.
could talk about her and look at her all day. So.
Yeah, I mean, you put that woman in that character and that writing and that combat against what we got in the Rings of Power. I don't know what the budget was for this series, but I can guarantee you it wasn't $1 billion for one episode of TV or one season of TV.
I think if you break it down, it's like 56 or 58 million an episode or something.
Yeah, we calculated it down to the minute at one time, like how many $50,000 or something crazy a minute.
Oh my god,
we totally did crazy nerd shit like that.
Oh
But
no,
Max,
I
I'm
love
keeping
it,
you
but
late.
that's brutal.
I don't want to get rid of you. I want you to stay, but your professor.
I know, me too.
So.
Maybe my professors aren't, but my career, unfortunately, definitely.
Oh, I get it.
I do have to. I definitely have to think about that because
I know, dude.
YouTube
Thanks
is
for
paying
being
me
here.
pennies. No, thank you, man.
Oh.
Seriously, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going, yeah, on the pennies. I was going, yeah.
Oh,
pennies.
I will say right before I leave, a huge shout out to everyone in the chat, all the channel members, Wolf brothers and sisters. I do want to mention someone specifically who's not here tonight, but Roman of the Empire. He just lost his pup. They had to put her down.
Oh, no.
I want to say it was yesterday or the day before. The vet came to the house, so they were all there together with the pup when they put her down. But yeah, he is another military brother of mine and a master chief in the Navy. And still, it's never easy putting down a pup like that who's so close to us. So all my regards, my prayers, and my love to Roman. And chat, if you guys do get a chance, reach out to him on Twitter and just shoot him just some love. Yeah.
Yeah. Please, losing a pet is never easy. And a lot of us were following the story of the health issues for a little while now. Roman, I am really sorry. What you had to do, I've had to do once, and I pray to God no one ever has to do that again. There's no words. So I'm sorry for your loss, dude.
But yeah, he's a fantastic guy and has been a huge supporter of myself, Zaxx, Purple, Salty. So I will leave by saying hail to him, hail to the puppers, and hail to chat, and hail to the panel. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you again for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Well said, Max.
It's so good to see you, Max.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, I know. It's like I need to maybe I'll come on like an hour early just in the green room to hang out with you guys before.
I know. We were doing that. We were just talking, and it's like we're talking about Cracker Barrels and martinis, and why can't we have martinis at Cracker Barrel? This is what we do backstage. Yeah.
I still think they're missing out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I will see you guys soon. Have a great rest of the stream. I know you guys have plenty to talk about, and yeah, love you guys. See you guys soon.
Take care, Max.
Good night, Max.
Okay, bye.
Be safe. Let me get to this super chat from Lyle Hammock. What a good dude. Max is such a good dude. He's like that, like in real life too. He's huggy. He's kind. He's a happy drunk. It's a good thing. It's a win-win. Ladies, he's single. Did I mention that? So,
which I don't get. How is he single?
He's in California, dude.
Ladies,
they can't keep
what are
the
you
damn
doing?
power on. It's California. It's California. It's California.
If I was a bit more gay, Just saying.
Wow, I'm gonna leave that right there. I know.
Yeah.
I know. Man, I'm not even gonna make that joke. Holy shit, that's this is a super chat from the very patient Lyle Hammock. Hail to you, my brother, for $20. Hail to you, Lyle. It's great to see you. He says, just a show of appreciation for the great work you guys and gals do, and for this amazing fellowship we have, even in the midst of all my problems in life. You are my escape. I can't stay, but I wanted you all to know that. Lyle, you have been a long time member of this channel. You have been a long time participant in these chats. We don't always agree, and that's okay. I don't always agree with Zaxx. I sure don't agree with Purple Valkyrie all the time because I'm usually wrong. That's what it's being a human. We're going to have conflict. It's not if we have conflict, it's how we handle that conflict. And I would say, Lyle, you handle it artfully, even though I don't agree with your takes on some of your fandoms, you don't agree with mine. That's okay. I'm sorry you're going through a hard time, Lyle. I know it was just your birthday. I hope things get better. It's great to see you, and I really thank you for the super chats. Like Max so eloquently said, you don't make anything doing this. You do it for the love of it. So these super chats are wonderful. Thank you very much, Lyle. Thank you very much. Wow, what a world. I just need to catch up. But in the meantime, I am going to hand the show over to Purple Valkyrie, who's going to talk about something I have heard her talk about many, many times. And Zaxx, I know you're a fan of this as well. I have not seen this in a very long time, and now I want to get the animated version of this on DVD. In chat, we're going to bounce you out just for a little bit because there's very small print on this ad. Purple Valkyrie, take it away.
Yes, absolutely. You guys have heard me talk about this show and how much I love it, and it has just had its 30th anniversary yesterday. I can't believe it. I feel very, very old, but Batman the Animated Series is 30 years old, and it is still a phenomenal show. If you guys haven't seen it, it's one that I always recommend. And I think it works so incredibly well because it didn't talk down to the audience. Even though it was aimed at kids, it had some incredibly adult themes, and it looks iconic. And everybody recognizes that version of Batman. It was such a good show, and I'm not going to go through this whole article because it's quite long, but it just kind of reminisces about why this show was as good and is as good as it was. So it talks about the casting, which we had a phenomenal with the voice of Mark Hamill, iconic as the Joker, Kevin Conroy, who is always in my head, my Batman. But we had some incredible people just doing small bit roles as well, just to be on this show. And then we had the iconic look of Gotham itself from Paul Dini with the character designs.
Purple, who were some of those guest stars? And Zaxx,
Yeah,
your thoughts on this show too, but who were some of the amazing guest stars on this? I know a lot of us look at Mark Hamill and come on, he's a dick, right? But he was good in the series 30 years ago, right? None of us thought what we do about Mark Hamill 30 years ago. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't anyway. Now is that social media's fault? Has he been, a California, whatever, a left, limousine liberal, whatever you want to call it, forever? Probably. But he did a damn good job on the show. He really did. Who were some of the other voices or memorable voices that you remember, Purple and Zaxx, from this animated series? Because a lot of people love it.
They did, and there was a lot of very famous TV actors. So we had people like David Warner played a role. He was Ra's al Ghul, I believe. We had John Delancey, who was Q. He played a role. Adam West actually voiced a character who was very reminiscent of his version of the Batman, kind of like a mentor character to Kevin Conroy's Batman. We had Malcolm McDowell, who was on there. John Rhys Davis, who you guys will know from Lord of the Rings. He played Gimli. Just some absolutely incredible people. And let me see if I can pull up a few more, because these were just fantastic names.
I'm going to go ahead and get to this member chat. We've had a member. It's been Let Go Lass of Tickle Trunks for 2 months. Did I get that right, Zaxx? I don't.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. Just making sure. It's because I can't read sometimes. It says the world's first cuxo. I can't even cuxogangenist. You're trying to kill me again, aren't you, Mr. Tickle Trunk? The world's first cuxogangist. I tried. Where's my participation trophy? That's what they're saying at
It's
the
in
Rings
the
of
mail.
Power. Anyway, all right. Yeah, it is from Let's Go Brandon, along with my tax rebate from last year, which I still haven't gotten. Tell me how that works.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh,
It's got to be that cuxogaginist.
okay.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. You know who's not a cuxogaginist? Is the Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
What do you think about Batman the Animated Series? Then we'll kick it back to Purple. What's up there?
Well, I remember seeing Mask of the Phantasm in theaters, and that was an awesome experience. And I'm glad I went to do that. And the animated series itself is the one thing that comes up from not real people who really know Batman. When you're talking about your favorite versions of Batman, because most people kind of forget about the animated series, they want to talk about all of the theatrical releases. But truly, if you've watched it and you think about it, this may be the best version of Batman ever put on a screen. And given the talent involved with it, the style of the animation, the adult themes, any age can watch this and enjoy it. It's not a cheap version or a dumbed down version of Batman. If anything, it really does step things up, and you get to see villains you wouldn't see otherwise, and stories they don't get to in the big theaters, because in the theaters it always goes back to Joker eventually, right? And Batman, I mean, the series has so many other villains to play with and storylines to tell,
Absolutely.
and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Nicholson in 1989 was Jack Nicholson. Just really no other way to say it.
Mhm.
I mean, it was great for the time. I still love Michael Keaton's Batman. I really do. Even in Batman Returns, Heath Ledger. I think you can retire the character of the Joker after Heath Ledger. That's my opinion. Like we need to let the Joker sit as a character for maybe a decade, because I think Heath Ledger did everything. Again, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Purple and Max or Zaxx. Yeah, sorry, I got somebody backstage who's probably been waiting 20 minutes. How did he get in here? But yeah, I mean, I think we can let the Joker sit. Now that we've done like the weird version of the Riddler, the MAGA country Riddler, there are so many other characters that can come into this, and I think it would be really compelling. The question is, will the studios allow it, because they don't think people are going to care who else is in the pantheon of Batman's other evil nemesis, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think it's also important to remember why this show is so good, as Zaxx so brilliantly pointed out. But we've also got in the pipeline a spiritual successor, in quotations, for this show that's been given the go-ahead. And I do not think that what we had and have had for the past 30 years is what we're going to get coming up.
No, it'll be disabled, disadvantaged, communist, illegal. What's the right word? Dreamer. I guess that's the word. Dreamer, mixed race, they, them, polysexual, polyamorous, communist. And then Batman will be like 40th on the list of characteristics as far as casting goes. And it sucks. It really does. Let me get to this super chat from Daniel.
Get a correction in chat from Nosferatu the Vampires. He wants you to acknowledge Jared Leto as the Joker.
Boo.
Yeah, I agree.
Boo. Just boo to that.
Steve is here. Everybody say hello to Steve. I'm going to let Steve answer that question for me while I wrangle the chat. Go ahead, Steve. Hail the Prophet of the Dragon. Everybody say hello to Steve, by the way.
Hey, what, Jared Leto is Joker? No, we're good. I'll stick with Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson, of course. I could erase Jared Leto from my brain. I'd be fine. But yeah, the animated series, I watched this as I was a kid, so I started watching it again on HBO Max. It's amazing. So I don't know. It's I always like the Clayface episode. I don't know that the Clayface got enough love. I love Clayface.
Clayface is great, and you guys pointed out that they bore on villains that they didn't, you wouldn't usually see, like Man-Bat. I love Man-Bat. We got to see some great episodes. The Riddler was really well done. I really like what they did with Mad Hatter. I thought that was a really clever take on a very creepy character. But I think this last line really sums it up. What they said, he says, "It's been 30 years and we're still holding everything Batman related up to Batman the Animated Series for comparison. Bruce Timm and co. didn't just create a great Batman cartoon, they created the gold standard for Batman.
You have said that to me so many times, Purple Valkyrie, in trying to get me to rewatch this, because I've seen sporadic episodes. I really have. I didn't watch it end to end to end. That didn't happen. But to hear your passion and enthusiasm, it's one thing I have really tried to challenge myself with, is taking other people's fandoms that I would have never really considered, not because I didn't like them, but just because, I don't think that's me. And with the drought in entertainment that we're having and have been having for a while, I need to get to something. Silverlock, you guys vamp for me by a second, but you guys talk to me, what would be the worst thing that they could do to Batman in this remake real quick? And then actually I'll get to this with I'm going to cough, but you guys answer that question. I'll be right back.
I suppose disrespecting the way that they've done with other versions. I mean, they did it with the live action when they brought Kevin Conroy on. They killed the character, for goodness sakes. And I don't think if we had the Batgirl film, I don't think that version would have been any better. They just do not seem to want to respect Batman as a character.
They don't seem to want to respect anything. Let's be really honest about it. It's a broad generalization, but it's true. Silverlock, a longtime supporter of this channel. You and I have talked independently. I hope you're feeling well. I hope at some point we do get to talk about Tolkien. I am honored that you were a channel member. I love your comments in chat. It's wonderful to see you here this evening, and I do mean that. It's a $49.99 super chat, and I am humbled by that. Thank you, Silverlock. Thank you for being a friend to me. Thank you for being here for all these shows. I'm trying to sit more in gratitude. We're going through a rough time in the world right now. I don't think it's going to get much better, but I just thank you. Thank you very much for the $49.99 super chat. He says, I have to go, but I hope you all have a great evening. Silverlock, I hope you have a great evening. Thank you for being so supportive of every video that we put together for the Fire of Fandom series. You've always left comments. You've always been there when I did premieres, and it is greatly appreciated. And I know there are tons of people in chat too. Kayla Dare, Purple Valkyrie, Prophet of the Dragon, Zaxx is there, Amanda Manethrin, Punk Waddle's there. I've seen the Peter Vickman fan site. A ton of people have been in there. And if I missed your name, it's because I'm live streaming and I can't see everybody in chat. You know who you are. We talk all the time. Thank you, Silverlock. Really, it makes a big difference. With YouTube being the way that it is, we can just say that. But yeah, Batman, you guys, I would love to get some of the old animation that we had in the 90s. Some of the stuff I used to turn my nose up at now looks like masterpieces, And the question is our standards, and we've talked about this, Steve, Zaxx, Purple, are our standards being ground down because of the shit tier stuff we're getting to make the stuff from the 90s look better? Or is it simply because the ideology and the lack, I don't know, are the things made 20, 30 years ago? Are you guys seeing humanity more, the characters were written more as humans than we're seeing now? Purple, you and I were talking about this because we were watching a very famous miniseries, and we kept remarking how this looks incredibly dated, but yet the characters on screen felt more human than anything we got in the Rings of Power and a lot of other modern shows right now.
Mm-hmm. They did indeed, yeah. And I think it's not just because they were more relatable, but because they were portrayed as actually people. They weren't pushing an idea, they weren't pushing an ideology, they weren't lecturing the audience. It was just interpersonal stories that we were watching. And I think with the animated series, yes, I think with the 80s you could say they were very cheesy because a lot of them were there to sell toys, but the heart was still there. And if you look at the animation, especially things like Thundercats, it was beautiful. These vibrant color palettes. These the style of the characters, the fluidity of the animation.
Yeah, I'm going to go to you, Zaxx, on that question for 90s animation or other things. And then, Steve, I need to get to Daniel. I'm way behind, guys. I'm really sorry. This is a $10 super chat from Daniel. Thank you very much, my brother. Great channel. Daniel's just started a channel. He has some very interesting takes that he does live. He's doing them outdoors. And I don't know if he has an entire cinematography crew and a makeup crew and like people who do his lighting, but it is impeccable work. And I'm more than a little jealous. And I'm also jealous that you golf like that all the time. But it's a $10 super chat says most heroic female characters have been compassionate or motherly. Ripley protected Newt. Sarah protected John, but there has been a successful here, but there has been a successful heroic lead who wasn't a biatch, Beatrix Kiddo. Did I screw that super chat up?
No, I think you got it.
Okay.
At least you get.
I agree with that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you got Beatrix Kiddo, right? That's all that matters. Yeah.
Pretend I don't know who Beatrix Kiddo is because I have stream brain. Help me out.
Kill Bill.
That's okay. I like the
Kill
dog
Bill.
barking.
Yep.
Kill Bill.
Oh God, you guys. Okay, see, I'm not the biggest fan of Quentin Tarantino, and yes, I know everyone's gonna unsubscribe for me for saying that. My brother and his wife love Quentin Tarantino, and we've learned not to talk about it because I'm like, it's all right, and they're like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Kill Bill's the greatest movie ever made, and I'm like, well, it's pretty good. It's kind of long, great fight scenes, but Beatrix Kiddo, I got it now. I'm going to read it again. Most heroic female characters have been compassionate or motherly. Ripley protected Newt. Sarah protected John. But there has been a successful heroic female lead who wasn't a biatch. Beatrix Kiddo. Now that makes entire sense, and I think I did your super chat justice. We have had countless strong female characters, and they could be ass kickers and still feminine. We just looked at Agatha when Max was here, looking at the Viking, the Norse saga stuff. We can look at Arwen. We can look at Eowyn. We can look at Ripley, Ellen Ripley. We can also look at Sarah Connor, and not the Sarah Connor from Terminator Dirt Fate. What changed? Women were always like that before the last 10 or 15 years. Always like that in every story. They're changing it. You know why they're changing it, right? It sucks. Good super chat. Great topic, Daniel. Zaxx, Steve, we were talking about Batman the Animated Series. Then we went down a detour of looking or watching older things to see more humanity in them. Now, we've watched a lot of crazy things happening in fantasy lately, the Rings of Power being at the top of the list. We had Galadriel, who just basically smirked and flared her nostrils and desperately needed to get laid, but she didn't. What is it about the older cartoons or these older movies? Do you see more humanity in them, or is it just me projecting my own nonsense onto current day entertainment?
For me, we probably do see a bit more humanity in that you'd have, I guess, more variety to your characters. Now people are more stuck to their archetypes and they don't really develop into actual beings on the screen. It's one or two characteristics that they just reinforce over and over again. I'm finding in a lot of new media. Also, I think part of it is that we we used to consume whatever media we could find, and we didn't always find the same media to watch, depending on where you lived, what channels you had, how much money you had, what you could afford to buy, or even advertising. If you didn't buy that comic or this magazine, you wouldn't see this ad. But now we're all, because of this, able to all see everything almost at the same time. So you also have all of us sort of as a, I guess, sort of functioning as a supercomputer where we can pick out all these things they're throwing at us and we can share them with each other and go, yeah, look, we all saw the same thing. Here's what it is, and identify it that way. And then I think the 90s stuff, and like Purple said, a lot of it was to sell toys. And so we did see animated characters that were like, you're going to have kind of one of each. So you could sell those kinds of toys. Like Thundercats, for example, they were all different and they all had kind of their small role. But because they were still trying to sell you toys instead of a lecture or a lifestyle like they do now, a lot of it is lifestyle branding now. They had to make those characters entertaining. Like if you didn't like that show or watch it, you're not going to buy their toys. So for me, I think that's the big difference. Now they don't want to sell us a toy, they want to sell us a mindset or some kind of social programming instead of a figurine. And I think that's changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. De-evolving Western civilization, first world cultures into third world countries with no working power grid that eat bugs.
Bigots.
It's like it's like the James Bond villains are running the world, isn't it?
Oh boy.
What about you? Talk about great point, Zaxx. Talking about Thundercats, talking about selling toys, it worked. But those toys would have never sold if they didn't have little mini heroes' journeys, if they didn't have identifiable archetypes. And yeah, there were female characters that were strong in all those series. There really were. What about you, Steve? What do you think about that? What's your perspective on this in current year entertainment versus entertainment from when you were a kid?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say anything that hasn't already been said because, I mean, Purple and Zaxx brought up pretty much all the points, pretty much very eloquently and probably better than I could. But I think it's the writing isn't thinking about anything but the message. They're not thinking about toys. Toys of what? Nothing's being made toys of. It's all Pokemon and you know, older stuff, right? Trust me, I've been in the toy stores. There's no toys, and Star Wars has half an eye, not even half an eye, maybe 3 hooks on
It's
it.
true.
They're not worried
Yeah.
about selling toys. They're worried about selling the message. The writers they're picking writers that aren't writers. They're picking writers that they can control and have them, you know, play out the message. These aren't seasoned writers, seasoned character writers with credentials all over the place. They're not worried about developing anything past the scenes that they're working on in front of their face. And they're not acting like anything is happening in a greater story. It's all about the scene that we're in. And okay, we're done with that scene, move to next scene. So there's just no character development, no writing. And, you know, it's a shame. And it's just going to, I don't know. It seems to be getting worse in some things. I just know I winced when Purple brought up Thundercats because I can only think of what they did to Thundercats when they brought it back current year. And that is my biggest fear for the Batman animated series. Besides for, of course, it, you know, taking a sharp left turn in writing is what's the animation going to look like? Do we know who's animating it? Is it anybody that can actually draw?
No. Got to check those boxes. You got to hire people based on quotas of physical characteristics, some of which they just made up. And if you don't believe them, you're a bigot. Let me get to this super chat. Before I do that, hail to Dino of the Late Horror Show. Has ever, please go subscribe to Dino of the Late Horror Show. Almost constantly, I have old radio shows on in the background. When I'm in the car, it's my go-to. When I get tired of listening to Pandora and the stations that I do, I listen to one of Dino's fantastic compilations of Johnny Dollar or my favorite, Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in Sherlock Holmes. And it's just all those great shows. Go check it out. It's a great way to escape from the message and the agenda and go into the theater of the mind and really, really enjoy it. Dino, reach out to me. There's a special project I'm working on with some people that might involve something right up your alley, and I would love to get your assistance, guidance, just some on how to do it. So maybe we can set up this time this week because I'd really like to get it. And yes, that is a special new project for the channel, but we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This is from Psycho Dwarf 9 for $5. Says, heard a guy at a truck stop. Honey, can I buy a knife? LOL. My answer is, I'm getting one. Which one do you want? Could you imagine? Honey, can I buy a knife? Can I have a knife?
That's couples goals. That's what that is.
I remember when you were here visiting the United States, Purple Valkyrie, that I bought you a knife as a surprise. I bought you a big knife, and I'm like, here you go.
Yep.
I know they don't let you have these things where you come from, but I'm giving you one now. So it's like, and you know what Purple Valkyrie did? Her eyes got big, and she's like, I have a knife. See, knives are cool. Knives are cool.
Knives
I used to
are
carry,
awesome.
I used to carry pocket knives in elementary school. Every kid had a Swiss Army knife. What changed? What changed?
Vagina.
This is.
Go ahead, Zaxx. Say something more than vagina.
I'm gonna.
Please, then.
I'm gonna. Where's the Rings of
Effing
Power merch?
Steve.
That tells you
Dead
a lot.
weight. Oh, it does. It does. Hail. Let me get to this from Dina. Oh, Steve, never change. No, change, please. This is from Dino from the Late Late Horror Show. He says, "Oh, you wait. Okay, welcome to the Wolf Brothers. I guess you've rejoined the channel. I've been a channel member for 2 months. It's great to see you, Dino. It's always great to see you. There's a lot of really great content creators on this channel that are making good stuff, and they're doing something different, and they're doing it their own way." And I'm lucky to call people friends. So hail to you guys. Really, it's Go ahead.
I just want to respond to Daniel from the chat here. He brings up a good point. He's talking about The Office and everything sort of pre-2010, and The Office had so many episodes that would now be not allowed on TV, not produced, and are controversial. But at the time, nobody cared because you knew the intention was to be entertaining, and either you were entertained by it or you weren't, and that was a personal thing. And if you weren't entertained by it, you weren't offended by it, because that's the point of TV at that point, was to entertain us. But now it's to teach us a lesson. And so if you don't like what's being talked about, you internalize it as, well, this is a lesson I don't want. And that's how things have changed. Now you're offended by stuff that was never meant to teach you anything except for to have you laugh.
Yeah, it's such a good point, because I was just talking to Daniel in the chat about it. I thought I'd watched The Office. I had only watched a few, so I'm watching through most of it and discovering it, right? And you're exactly right. It's like you hear things in that show and you're like, oh my gosh, they'd never get away with that ever. And you're of course laughing the whole time while you're thinking about it, but you're absolutely great point, Zaxx. You're 100%.
Imagine a show like Married with Children being made today.
It would never get made.
Oh my God.
It'd be
or even in Living Color. Living Color back in the day on Edgy Fox, where they went with that. 2 snaps and a Z. You guys know what I'm talking about there. And
would it be Married with Children would be 2 women with a gay relationship.
Are you a biologist?
Sorry.
Are you a biologist?
Okay. I messed it up again, didn't I? Damn.
Yeah.
Something's messed up. I don't think it was you, though, Steve.
No.
Yes.
You're on point, Steve. You're on point. And so this is a funny story. Steve was talking about kids and toys, right? So we're planning to how we're going to try and work on the Rings of Power, because it's apparently dropping at midnight, like on Thursday, because that makes sense, because Amazon are morons. Tell me that's not deliberate. Why wouldn't you debut this show in primetime? Why? Anyway, we were talking, and suddenly 5 screaming children were running down his hallway, and I couldn't even hear them. And he looks over and he's like, I hope they haven't just eaten everything in my pantry. It was like,
they did.
But, he doesn't even know who the hell these kids are. There's just like 5 children and plus his own. But that's what I was going to ask you, Steve, was what toys does your youngest one, Easton, who is a much better player of the Wheel of Time video game than you will ever be, like, what toys does he want? Like, what is he? He's 12, I believe, or 11?
He just turned 10. He wants Mario stuff, anything Mario. He's a huge Nintendo Switch guy. And Pokemon. That's about it. Legos and then just Robux and Roblox stuff. That's it. It's Mario, Pikachu. Maybe not Pikachu, but Pokemon. And that's all. That there's nothing, and frankly, there's nothing else in those aisles. I mean, that it's overrun.
Steve,
yeah, sorry.
Are you an Italian plumber?
Yes, on the weekends I get a mustache and everything.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
My brother, I get him one. We pretend we're 2 Italian plumbers. We eat a lot of pasta. What can I say?
Mustache face.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this all code for gay stuff that I don't understand because I'm a square? Or
yes.
Italian plumbers eating pasta, Big Mike, all that stuff? Yeah.
In the bathroom?
You could tell I was an actor, totally straight face. Just look at this.
Zaxx can be Wario. You want to be Wario? We can go on the road.
I can pass.
No,
I can pass.
Yeah. Jesus.
I mean, you are the beefcake. So
wow. Welcome to RuPaul's Canadian Drag Race with Zaxx and Steve. Jesus. guys are breaking my brain. We have more articles to cover. Why don't we get to them? But I mean, yeah, it's wild. So we were watching 1994's The Stand, and this is a guilty pleasure of mine. I have it on DVD, and I watch it a couple times. I watch it a couple times a year because it's calming. Now I know what you're saying, but Salty, it's a movie about the apocalypse. And like 90% of the population dying off. How can it be relaxing? And the reason is the performances in that show to me are just, it's a moment in time. You know, was Molly Ringwald really the best casting choice in 1994? No, but if you were there, Molly Ringwald had aged out of being a teen beauty queen in the 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, but a younger Gary Sinise does a fantastic job. Rob Lowe is in it. It's just some fantastic
Before he got
actors.
cancelled, yes.
Yeah, before he made a porno tape with the actress who played Minnie Mouse on the TV Emmys. That actually happened, you guys.
Rob Lowe?
Guess missed out if you weren't there. Rob Lowe.
Wasn't there?
But yeah, that's one of the guilty pleasures that I have are a mini series that I can't believe is almost 30 years old. How did that happen? What is your guys' guilty pleasure as far as something from the 90s that maybe, you're not going to be like, oh, I watch Batman. But what is something that you would maybe, you're not going to lead with that when you're trying to impress people on your nerdom, but is there something like that where you guys like, this is my go-to, this is something that I watch, and it's just very calming and I can't explain why? Who shall I start with on that? Why don't we start with you, Zaxx, just because you're looking really pretty tonight, and I want to put you center stage. So,
Babylon 5, mic drop. Done. That's it.
dude, I was drinking water. You could have strung it out just 2 more seconds because I almost.
I mean, what else
that's
is
a
there to
good
say?
call. That's a good call. I know, right? But you're right. Okay, that's actually a good call. And here's the thing. I hear so many people talk about that over and over and over and over, which isn't a bad thing. But the effects look like trash
Awful.
now.
Awful.
Right.
Almost unwatchable.
The effect. So I'm gonna bounce this to you real quick. The Rings of Power's effects. That's all we kept hearing about. Is the visuals are amazing. It's so beautiful. It's gonna make Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings look like a community theater play. So, what is it that separates Babylon 5 with the low-grade Atari 600 effects like ET? You guys know what I'm talking about? No? Anyway, it's like Frogger. You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
I'm pretty
But
sure
what is it that separates the two? Like Babylon 5 from the billion-dollar Rings of Power?
Well, writing for one thing, characters for another. A story is also useful. So those are all things that they've used, and the effects are awful. Like it looks like probably I think it was actually made on an Amiga. If anyone's heard of that, they're my age, they know what that is. It was like the step up from the
I know
Commodore
what that is.
64, and there
I know what that is.
you could take. I know they won't because of probably casting issues. You could take the current episodes of Babylon 5 and just redo the effects with miniatures if you want to, but just do that and release it again, and it would be still amazing. And you could get new life from that series. You don't have to reboot it like they're going to do now. You could just show it again, but with actual effects that aren't hard to look at, because when it first came out, I was like, I can't watch this. It looks stupid. And I was foolish enough to not watch it originally. Now I've since gone through it, but the storylines, the characters are so good, and everyone is balanced, and they have arcs, and you like them, but then you hate them, but you kind of like them again. And it's for 5 seasons. It's fantastic, entertaining television. And there's like 22 episodes a season at that point. That's hours and hours of entertainment. And now it's Rings of Power, and it's 2 hours, and I went and barbecued a hot dog in the middle of episode 1 and came back and didn't pause it because I'm like, this is just, I don't care about any of this. I walked out of the room.
That was Rings of Power?
Yeah.
Did you hop over a troll out of the room off a sword? Oh, sorry.
No, but no, I didn't. But
that was the excruciating. Sorry, go ahead, Zaxx.
No, I was gonna say I made a smoky and that tasted good. It was better than the show.
Oh yeah.
He made a smoky. It's Canadian for drugs, isn't it, Zaxx? one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life was watch 2 episodes back to back of the Rings of Power live for the reasons that no, seriously. The hardest thing I've ever done on YouTube was that because of what Zaxx just said. It was
Boring.
boring. It was boring in ways I didn't think you could make things boring. And it wasn't even it wasn't even that beautiful. It was boring trying to be beautiful. You know, there's a difference between being beautiful and someone who needs to put on a lot of makeup and a lot of Spanx and try and slut it up. And the Rings of Power felt like someone who was really trying to be beautiful and just wasn't beautiful. And the reason why was that that person wasn't beautiful on the inside. Wow, I'm really deep. You know who is beautiful on the inside and on the outside? Steve, Prophet of the Dragon. What's your guilty pleasure?
You had to dig deep for
What's
that
your
one,
guilty
man.
pleasure?
Oh, so I mean, are we talking a certain? I guess just. I mean, for me, like I'll just go back and just. So I guess senseless action movies, like end of the world action movies, I guess back then, because they didn't seem to be so like taking themselves so serious. Like the other day, like there was nothing on TV, so I threw on The Core. Like I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but it was terrible, but I loved it because it was just like, okay, we're serious. It's just we're not going to preach about too much. It's just going to be about the end of the world, and we caused it, and now we got to go fix it. And there's a million of those, and it's just like I don't know. I just whenever I'm just searching around TV, I tend to go back to like that and Armageddon and Deep Impact
Yeah.
and all like that. All those just
I love that. I love that you're saying that.
Yeah, all those ridiculous just world-ending video or movies that seem to come out all at the same time. You know, you got 2 meteor movies coming out back to back. Then Day After Tomorrow comes out, and so it's just like, and it's like, sure, why not? Some of them make zero sense, but you know what? They're fun, and they're not trying to preach at me. I can just enjoy some of the good special effects and some of the bad special effects, and just be there for it, right? So I don't know. Not the best answer. The first thing that come off the top of my head.
I am bringing somebody on who I play D&D with tomorrow night, and he was pinging me in the background. I want to welcome the one and only Jed, the Hollywood Scholar. It's great to have you on the channel. You know the topic. I'm going to go to Purple Valkyrie. Then we will go to you on your question of what is a guilty pleasure from years ago that you don't lead with from your fandom. Purple Valkyrie, what is it for you? And then we'll go to Jet.
I would tag on from what Steve was just saying, and I would add Twister as well as a guilty pleasure. But for me, it would probably be Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I know Kevin Costner did a terrible accent, but
wow,
but, damn
he goes
it,
in and
Ian
out of it.
Whitman was so good.
Look at we're all judging Purple Valkyrie right now. There's a lot of
That's
judging.
a great movie.
Great movie. He goes in and out of that accent so many times. It's the I love.
Just commit, please. Oh, don't.
My father was
Everything
no devil
I do.
worshiper.
Oh, I'm so sick of that song. So sick of that song. But
Look into my eyes. I can do Bryan Adams.
You just did it.
I wish
Not well, but I can do it.
Take it, please. Do Bryan Adams.
You can have him if you want, actually.
Oh my god.
What's
Actually, yeah, I would do that if I could
Okay.
just ride around on a ferry boat, like listening to Bryan Adams, like just like play me
man.
Summer of '69, you know. Me and some guys from school never got it. All right, that's enough of that. What else, Purple Valkyrie? You're not here to listen to me half-ass my way through Bryan Adams songs.
Pretty much
Such a
any
good
of those kind of weird mid '90s films. I mean, Steve kind of pointed out there was a lot of them. There was like Twister, Volcano, Speed with Keanu Reeves. That was a good one.
Yes.
Speed 2 was pretty bad, but I actually really liked the first one.
Speed was good.
Speed 2, the
Speed was
boat.
great.
It's like Speed. What's Speed 3? A submarine or an airplane? What's it gonna be?
It's a drive-through. It's a barista working a Starbucks drive-through at rush hour. You know what I mean?
They do it in California now. It would be a skateboard, I think.
Oh gosh! Even
Yeah.
Keanu's like, no, one speed's enough. I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah. Thank you for that laugh, Purple Valkyrie. And we were laughing with you. We weren't laughing at
It's
you.
okay. You judge away, boys. Judge away. It's okay.
I'm right there with you. I'm right on. Great answer.
I'm going to admit this. I saw Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner in the theater opening night.
So
Because that's what
old.
you did. That's what you did.
Your father
You know
was my
why?
favorite
Because
witch.
most movies were pretty dang good in the 80s. Most were. They were entertaining because they weren't lecturing you. You know who's entertaining? Our pop-on guest, Jed, the Hollywood Scholar. One of my, he saved my bacon playing Dungeons and Dragons on OBG's 70s channel more than once. How are you doing? And then let's go ahead and talk about what your guilty nerd pleasure is that you don't lead with because you're afraid of maybe losing some cred.
Well, I'm doing great. Have to start to appreciate you having me on. And my
Oh,
guilty
dude, yeah.
pleasures are, it depends on what you mean by guilty pleasure. Like guilty pleasure, mainly because nobody knows about it, is the Hornblower TV series. I love that TV series.
Oh.
It's one of my favorite. It's all about the British Navy in the early 1800s. Like the last two movies are all about the Napoleonic Wars. But I grew
wow.
up watching those. They were movies originally, and then they just kind of made it into a season or 3 seasons of television. It's kind of weird how it all worked out, but I love those movies. It nearly got me to join the Navy, but just no one's ever seen them, so I rarely talk about. But when you mean like guilty, like shame type guilt, I have to go with Gilmore Girls. I am a big Gilmore Girls fan. That is my guilty shame that I love that show more than a man should.
My sister and mom were always watching that show. I know exactly what you're
I don't
talking
know.
about.
I don't know why I like it. I've just liked it since I was a kid. I don't know if I got into it so early that the nostalgia kicks in now when I watch it, but it's still like, even when I'm watching it, it's like, I should not be watching this. This is wrong on so many levels. It's just so entertaining.
All right, bye.
I must have had some static in my ears because I
stunned silence.
What came across? The words I made out was Gilmore Girls.
I heard Happy Gilmore. That's what I heard.
Dude, you are secure in your masculinity. I respect that. My guilty pleasure is Charmed, the old school.
Wait,
like
that's
the
not
original,
bad
the
different than what
only.
I'm
Wait,
saying.
how are you judging him about Gilmore Girls? And you say
exactly.
Okay. Have you not seen what they were wearing on Charmed?
Yeah.
They were witches, Steve, and their boobs were out.
So they were out on
Gilmore Girls, yeah,
What
they had their tits out a lot.
They were
You
out
guys
everywhere.
suck.
She was out there looking for a new man every show. Showing off.
Are you a biologist? They're called boobs. They are called.
Oh,
kitty bags.
Firefly. Yeah, good one too.
Firefly. Yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That one's great.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Firefly. Charmed.
Angel.
Those are my shows. Angel especially, not toward the end. But Angel was talk about an interesting. How often have you seen a sequel off of a show go its own way and actually be entertaining in different ways than the original was? And that's for me what Angel was, at least a couple seasons ago. And
you like the lead better too, didn't you?
Good call.
Yeah, surprised nobody said Hercules or Xena.
That's my dad's stuff.
I've never seen a good Hercules movie besides the Disney
TV
one.
show.
And that's
the TV show.
Oh, sorry to interrupt.
I've never seen the TV show.
Dude,
never saw that.
Good, clean fun, man. They do all kinds of twirlies. And then Xena with her little...
they do. You're right. Lots of twirling.
I gotta remember that Steve. I gotta remember that Steve is the guy who used the F word 3 times in one sentence while I'm live on my channel, and it just like I was like, Steve, you get 5 a night, and he blew 3 in 10 seconds. Talking about episode 2 of the Rings of Power. Let me get to this super chat very patiently. The birthday girl, Squeak a Mouse, hail to you. We're getting lucky $13. Says, thank you all for the awesome company on my birthday. Squeaka, I've said it many, many times. I wish I could buy a drink, buy a bourbon, buy a steak. Someday we will meet up at an event and we'll all get to hang out and drink bourbon and put songs in a jukebox and embarrass one another doing karaoke. You all are truly the most amazing fellowship of friends. Right back at you. This channel is nothing without everybody who's been here all night. Really mean that. Thank you. Thank you guys. Every time I watch your names go by on my channel page for my subscribers, I'm humbled. And I'm humbled that I get to work with Zaxx, Purple Valkyrie, Steve Prophet of the Dragon, Jed the Hollywood Scholar, other people, Paul the Latino Slat, all these other people that I get to call friends. And we're all equal. We're all in the same team, and it's team fandom. Happy birthday to you, Squeaky Mouse. She says, take care and have the best night. You too. Happy birthday to you, Squeaka.
Hail Squeaka.
I owe you many bourbons. Thank you so much for that super chat. Ms. Martin Muses is dropping her guilty pleasure is Twilight. Did I read that right, Miss Martin Muses? Twilight? It was don't judge. Don't do that.
I can't believe
My
that.
guilty pleasure is Twilight. No, we're bearing souls here. This is like being in an AA meeting, only it's
I
none of it
definitely
is
can't
court
judge.
mandated. None of it is court mandated. Let's let this, you guys, stop interrupting Whammon. All right. This Miss Martin Moose says her guilty pleasure is Twilight. It was dumb, but there were some genuinely beautiful moments, and the score is great. Well, I'm going to admit this. I like to watch the first Twilight movie because it reminds me of the Pacific Northwest.
Mm.
And I may have the volume off, but it reminds me of the mountains of British Columbia and the ocean on the Push, the beaches out there on the far western Olympic Peninsula. And that's okay. Teresa, I'm glad that you like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm just
go ahead, Zaxx.
She's like the classiest person on YouTube, so I just would have expected. And this is not a knock. I think it's great. I think it's actually better that you like that movie. But like your guilty pleasure would be like Shakespeare in the Round or something. Would be like where you would go with this. But I love that's where it went.
I do too. I love that a love story with Bella and Edward can be moving, because sometimes we don't want to eat a complicated meal. Sometimes we just want to go to a taco truck and get a taco. And that is what Twilight is. It's a very satisfying, crunchy taco.
Just on this comment here, the Babylon 5 thing.
Go ahead.
One of the things that's really cool about the budget and what they did with that show was some of the most memorable scenes for me, even though it's a universe ending stuff going on, was just them having breakfast together. There's the one episode where Ivanova has bacon and eggs, and like, why do I remember that? It's most shows you would not remember that, but I can replay it immediately because you love the characters and they were so good together.
Dr. Rachel Lindbergh, hail to you. She says she loved Prince of Thieves too, Purple Valkyrie. I'm going to have to watch that again. I'm going to have to look for that soundtrack on vinyl. I'm losing my voice. You guys cover for a second. I'm losing.
Well, hail to Dr. Rachel Lindbergh. I actually got to meet her in Vegas, and she is fantastic. She was so much fun to hang out with. I love Dr. Lindbergh.
That's awesome. I hope I get to meet you, Rachel. I really do. Your comments have been amazing. You're an incredible cosplayer. Mm-hmm. I got to meet Thunder Sensei, who was got you, Zaxx. I got to meet Thunder Sensei, who was cosplaying Princess Leia.
Yes.
And it looks better than anything Disney Star Wars has done since they bought it. I'm just going to say that. And boy, Nosferatu, I got to be careful. You say some really wild stuff in chat, and I'm learning not to just look at this. We've got more love for Gilmore Girls from Matt, the unbearable one. The Thad that shouldn't be says Gilmore Girls was awesome. Lauren Graham is insanely hot. Your thoughts on that, Prophet of the Dragon?
Never seen Gilmore Girls.
My thoughts? Yes, she's insanely hot. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I did see some love for Spice World in the chat too, so.
Spice World?
Mm-hmm. Spice Girls.
Oh no, we're not. That never happened. There was never a group called the Spice Girls. There was never a dance called the Macarena. There was none of that.
Hey, I can still dance the Macarena. I can still do that.
Terrible dance. I hate the Macarena.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening. They're rebelling against it.
Spice World happened.
The Macarena.
Get on the train or get off. Come on.
I'm not judging anybody. I'm just judging adjacent. I'm over here judging this direction, but you're near me while I'm doing that. This is Daniel. It says, I got weird and obscure one for you, Salty Texas. See, The Prisoner. My dad got me into that crazy. It's actually a classic. Daniel. The Prisoner is a timeless piece of television that I think Mahler did reviews on. I think
As is a huge
oh
fan
god,
of. Yep.
As is a huge fan.
Mm.
I know that Doomcock is a big fan. I know that a bunch of people are. And for different reasons. And it's fantastic to hear people's takes on why The Prisoner matters to them. When I was a little kid, they used to show it late at night after the news sometimes. Like on a weekend, they'd show a couple episodes of The Prisoner. And it was trippy. It was trippy AF, but it holds up. And here's what you got to ask yourself. Why is a show like that with such low production values? What is it, 50, 60 years old?
Is it that old?
Why did? Yeah, I think it was from the 60s. I thought it was the mid to early 60s. But why does a show like that captivate our imagination?
67, you're right.
Bingo. Why does a show like that still captivate generation compared to spending $1 billion to make something that was very clearly not what it was advertised? You guys, we are going to start winding down. I'm going to give Psycho Dwarf with the Three Stooges meet Hercules. I think that's episode 3 of the Rings of Power. I think that's what
I thought we already were
episode
there.
3 of the Rings of Well, yeah, maybe. Horatio Hornblower. Absolutely. Yeah. The Thad That Shouldn't Be watches the old Italian Hercules movies. Those are crazy. I've seen some of those. Dr. Rachel Lindbergh dropping it. I had tapes of the Carol Burnett Show, The Addams Family, and 21 Jump Street. Dude, I have Carol Burnett over there on DVD. I also have Johnny Carson. That's another guilty pleasure. Is I love watching the old Johnny Carsons, where Johnny Carson usually bombs on his monologues from the 70s and 80s, and with the ties that are like this wide, and he's smoking at his desk, and people are drunk, and they're making jokes about Jimmy Carter. It's fun. I agree with that. The Addams Family is awesome. 21 Jump Street, too, was brilliant. Johnny Depp was never that young. I was never that young. Oh, Sarah Garian says, I loved Hercules, the legendary journeys. Xenia, not so much. I never got into Xena. I just never, ever got into it.
It
really.
got a little weird, yeah.
Look at this. Nosferatu the Vampire says, my guilty 90s pleasure is Taxi Cab Confessions.
Heck yeah.
That is a good take. That is outstanding, you
That
guys.
is
Absolutely outstanding.
Old school HBO right there. 12 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I remember those. Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Rachel, you're lighting this up tonight. Look at this with the great comments. There's the Spice World. I'm going to delete that because this show is not going live with any reference to any Spice Girls. So this section will be completely clipped from the re-uploaded video. Punk Bottle says, Tim Conway is hilarious, which is why I wish I could have gotten the parody Gandorf. It's true. Tim Conway doing Dorf on Gorf. Again, a more believable dwarf done by Tim Conway with his knees halfway in the ground than we got from Amazon.
I'm afraid to say it, but it might not be too late.
It's true. Another missed casting opportunity. James Cameron's Dark Angel owns it on season 1 and 2. This will be the last show we talk about. Let's talk about James Cameron Dark Angel season 1 and 2. Let me get to the super chat from a very patient Dino. Dino, dude, it's great to see you, and I did mean that. Like I'm working on a thing, and this is in your wheelhouse. But so for $10 says, one of the only channels I love to listen to nowadays. Keep up the great streams. That's a hell of a compliment coming from you.
It is.
Hail to you, Dino. Hail to the Late Horror Show. You're a good dude, and hail to you, and thank you very much. It's nice to hear that, dude. The feeling is more than mutual. So hail to you. Let's talk about that from, and I'm going to try and say this name. This is from Caviendo Cavalryman Che. Says James Cameron's Dark Angel. They own season 1 and 2 box set. You guys tell me about that. If you guys watched Dark Angel quickly, and then we'll wind down the show.
I watched it, but all I can remember is Jessica Alba, and that's about all I remember. To be quite frank.
So if you're going to remember anything, that would be the person to remember.
I remember she was always wearing something tight and a tank top. That was about all I got
Yeah.
out of it. So
If you
I
didn't
know I
remember that,
enjoyed it.
I'll be checking your man card. Yeah.
Sarah Garian actually submitted an episode of Star Trek Voyager. She said she was inspired by the cast and put her keyboard to the test. It never aired, but she was still proud of the effort, and you should be. I think this is one of the things that we need to start making things we want to see, because they're not going to make themselves. And that's part of what I want to talk to Dino about. There's a reason why Young Rip is doing what he's doing. There's a reason why Tim Pool's doing what he's doing. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. It just is what it is. But these movies we want to see and the characters we want to see and the books we want to read, unless we go back to the past, we're going to have to be the ones who make it. And it ain't easy. But hail to you, and I have a lot of respect to that. Let's talk about Dark Angel real quick, you guys. Purple Valkyrie, did you ever watch that show with a Jessica Alba who was continually in tank tops, which I am a very supportive of that. Can I just say that?
You know what? I actually didn't watch it. I knew of it, but it was one of those shows that I never got round to sitting down and watching, although I used to watch things like Buffy and Angel and things that were of a similar kind of nature. But no, that one kind of passed me by. I know it only had a couple of seasons, though, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
What about you, Jed? Then we'll go to Zaxx. And then, did you watch Dark Angel? And do you remember more than a hot Jessica Alba in a tank top?
I'm actually not familiar with the show. I don't even think I've heard of it before, so I don't know anything about it. But Jessica Alba is always a good thing to remember from stuff. It's basically all I remember from the original Fantastic Four movies, especially the first full invisible scene on the bridge.
Oh yeah.
It's important to me as a child.
Yeah. So I think
get that.
everybody. Yeah.
That makes sense to me. What about you, Zaxx? What did you think of that show?
How could I forget Jessica Alba in a tank top and tight pants? I mean, that was the show, right?
Right?
I don't know.
mean,
If
come
there
on.
probably was a story, but who cares?
I mean, come on. Like, I remember it being great, but I mean, all I remember is her.
That's the show. That's what it is. So yeah, I watched
Dr.
it.
Rachel.
I watched it.
Sorry, Zaxx. Dr. Rachel Lindbergh. We do have to talk Carol Burnett. I think there's a lot of people that would like to talk about that. Yeah, I mean, when did that come out, Zaxx? Wasn't that? Oh God, I can't even place when it was. Was it the late or mid '90s? That Dark Angel show? Do you remember?
I think it was like the.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No. I think it was the late. I think 96, 97-ish in there somewhere. I think.
Okay.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
We used to take shows like that for granted back then. Just oh yeah, it's going to be another pretty good show. You know, this is stuff that if it came out now, we'd lose our minds over. And I swear to God, Caviendo, Calvary Manchet, I don't want to hear about who your favorite Spice Girl is.
Baby.
Purple Valkyrie, who's your favorite Spice Girl? Briefly.
I did have to go. Usually I would say Ginger, but I always like Posh Spice. Yep.
Posh.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up with Beckham. I wonder if she bends it like Beckham. What about you, as long as we're doing this? Who was your favorite Spice Girl, Zaxx? Because I haven't embraced the surreal horror that was these Spice Girls in a long time.
Well, I mean,
who was your Spice Girl?
Well, I like the looks. I like the looks of Posh Spice, but I like Sporty Spice's spunky personality.
What?
Oh yeah.
That's wrong answer.
No, that's the answer.
You are so judgy. You are so judgy tonight, Mr. Dragon. Who's your Spice Girl over there, tough guy? Since you seem to know everything about this abomination.
I do. I am an enthusiast. No, it's Baby Spice. Come on. I mean, come on. She's blonde and ready.
You guys got to be careful. If no one likes Mel B,
Wow.
you're gonna get canceled.
What about you, Jed? Are you going to be the lone voice of reason in this wilderness of Spice Girl insanity? Who is your pick, sir?
Well, I think I might be a welcome relief for you, Salty, but not necessarily in the way that you hope. The Spice Girls broke up like a few months after I was born, so they're a little bit before my time, so I don't know the individual Spice Girls.
You're a lucky man. You are a lucky man, and God smiled upon you when that occurred, Jed.
He's an NSYNC fan.
I want you to know that. So I would take ginger spice just because I'm basic bitch when it comes to that stuff. Give me an English redhead or an Irish redhead or a Welsh redhead and forget about it.
All right, stay away from me then.
You like crazy people?
There was an asterisk that had you need to be born with a vagine and ovulate. But let me get to this super chat from Dr. Rachel Lindbergh. Yes, I am. Believe me. This is a $10 super chat from Dr. Rachel Lindbergh, who says, "Hail the salty panel. I enjoy these Tuesday streams. Great to relax and talk a little about everything." I agree. Just not the Spice Girls on a regular basis. You guys are awesome. It's been a fun show. I needed to have a fun show. Yeah, that's a really good question, isn't it? Too close. Too close. I just want to catch up with chat real quick. Let's go around the horn and let's go ahead and start with Jed. Where are you going to be? I know what you're doing tomorrow night as far as I remember.
I will be on
your channel.
So I'm Jed, the Hollywood Scholar on YouTube. I put out daily videos, lots of reviews, stuff like that. I will be on OBG70's channel tomorrow night for some Dungeons and Dragons, and then the Renaissance Nerd channel for our Rings of Power after show on Saturday at 7:30 Eastern. That is, this is Mordor country. And I did miss your guys' Rings of Power discussion if you had it, but did you guys see the alternate version of the You Have Not Seen What I Have Seen scene that leaked online? The alternate dialogue for that scene.
After the show, let's show us because I'd like to see it.
Oh no!
Does she show her tits? Is that what happens?
It's a bit of a meme, but no. But yep.
Does she say you have seen what I have seen? And it's like
she does say it a few more times. In fact.
Oh well.
Did she put shoe polish on her face and go, "Nobody knows the trouble I've seen"? For diversity and representation, because I wouldn't put it past Amazon to melon it up. God, I hate this damn show. I hate this damn show. Thanks a lot for jumping on, Jed, and you're welcome. This was fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Take a chance, spin the wheel. Sometimes I'm not a terrible person. Sometimes
I appreciate that.
You know who's not a terrible person is Steve, Prophet of the Dragon, who had 5 screaming children running in his house, and he's pretty sure 3 of them were his. Talk about what you're doing, where people can find you.
Prophet of the Dragon YouTube channel. Gonna try and do some stuff this week. I'm finally off work, thank goodness. But what I will really want to know is why Purple Valkyrie hates Jessica Alba because she didn't watch Dark Angel. That's what I want to know.
So much judgment. So much judgment tonight.
Are you saying I need to sit down and watch Dark Angel? Is that what it is, Steve?
Just one episode a few times.
Okay,
I mean, it's not the same thing.
Just to get a taste of it. Just to get a little taste of Jessica Alba.
A little taste of Jessica Alba in a tank top. Sign
I would
me up,
love
ladies.
a taste of that.
Oh, yeah.
Even now.
Yeah. Yeah, with fava beans and a nice Chianti. Daniel for $5 says, if everyone wants a show, get Zaxx to put on a tank top and you can see the gun show. It's true. If we had Zaxx in a tank top, just flexing, rubbing like corn oil on his biceps all night, and then we
Maple
had
syrup.
Steve, Prophet of the... Okay.
Maple syrup.
That's an OnlyFans waiting to happen.
It's a gimmick.
It's all in his hair too. He's just like...
I actually would send in super chats to watch you rub maple syrup on your beard and your hair and your eyebrows on your chest. Yeah, not for sexual reasons, but just because I want to hear the screams all the way from Manitoba to Texas of you trying to get that stuff off yourself when you're sleeping and the ants come into your bed. But who was I on? How did I get derailed? Oh, I'm reading a super chat from Daniel. It's for $5. You have good ideas, Daniel. This is why you're a channel member. You had another good idea to subscribe to this channel. I know you also watch Zaxx, Purple Valkyrie, Prophet of the Dragon, and I know that you've also watched some of the D&D stuff that we do. Hail to you. All right, let's move on to the one and only Purple Valkyrie. What do you got going on? Where can people find you? What is going down in the UK?
What isn't going down in the UK? That's the problem, but
not your energy bills, not your food bills, and not democracy in any discernible form. Let's be honest about it.
None of those. No, absolutely not. But you can find me on my channel tomorrow. We are talking Woo Woo Wednesday, and we've got a special topic tomorrow because we're actually talking about a haunted hotel that we visited in Dallas, which was very exciting.
That's true. I forgot we were doing that. I edited that video quickly. I've been walking around with all this. Yeah, stop. Just no. No,
Look,
stop.
she's right.
No,
The
it's
doctor-
Ginger. If we're gonna do this,
You
it's
can't
Ginger Spice.
disagree
No.
with it. She's a doctor. She's right.
No,
She's a
somebody
doctor.
mute Steve.
She's a doctor.
Somebody,
It's over.
somebody. I'm gonna mute you, Steve. Okay, get back in the box. Okay. And now look at what we've done. Blair to Blair says sporty for me. What are you guys doing?
You're gonna have to put a poll
Do
up.
I need to turn this into the Spice Girl hour? What are we doing?
Sporty is the
I don't
wrong
understand.
answer.
And we've got TRW who's smoking cilantro, apparently. Sorry, Purple Valkyrie. You were talking about the Woo Woo show. I was editing that video. I was walking around with a ton of a B-roll, as they call it. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Talk about your channel. What are you going to do next? I know you're going to be having somebody. Are you ready to talk about somebody big coming on your show yet? Or do you want to hold off?
I'll hold off on that until I get confirmation. But yeah, that should be happening on Sunday and Saturday. We're going to try and get a game going again. And I'd love to have as many people join as possible. So if you guys would like to play Garcic Phone, I would very much like that.
Purple still hasn't played it. I've played it with Steve and Nathan, and we need to get Zaxx on this. And Jed, you're welcome to come as well. Garcic Phone is
it's so great.
Fun as hell. It's fun as hell.
It's perfect.
And everybody in chat, you might as well come and hang out with us. Look at what we've got going on here. It says Caviando Caventino Cavalryman Che. Says salty if it makes you feel better. Jerry Hallwell got published in Penthouse Magazine. I know, I bought the issue. You guys, this has been a great show tonight. It's just a true story. It's an absolute true story. It's been a great show tonight. Let's end on Zaxx. What do you got going on? Where can people find you? What's going on with the man in Manitoba?
Well, I'm going to be doing a live stream on Thursday at 8:15. We're going to finish up the Ultimate Arnold. We'll probably talk a little bit about Rings of Power and House of the Dragon and stuff that we've talked about to death all week up to that point. So it's going to be exciting for everyone to go over it for the 8th time. And yeah, just have a fun show. And I think that's all I've got coming up this week. And I'm working on a number of videos that I probably won't finish. So hang in there. Maybe something will come out.
Me too.
It's a curse. It is. Because Seregian, I think that's how you pronounce it. She was talking about that earlier in the chat about the struggle of finishing a video, and it's a real struggle, and it never goes away. And it's the thing where you get to about 80%, you're like, I want to work on something else now. And it's, do you finish this one or do you hop to the next one? Is always the question, right?
Yeah.
I was so busy talking about the Spice Girls and experiencing a near out of body experience that I missed Dr. Rachel's super chat. Is this the one, Zaxx?
I think so.
I missed?
Yep.
Okay. This is from Dr. Rachel Lindbergh. Thank you. And we do have to talk about Carol Burnett. I actually love Carol Burnett. I used to watch that with my grandparents as a little kid. This is it for $10. She says, hail the salty panel. I enjoyed these Tuesday streams. Great to relax and talk a little about everything. Agreed.
You know what show Carol?
Did I miss anybody? Is there anybody hiding in the back that I forgot to have shout out their channel because I have stream brain and need to put a pizza in the oven because I did not eat enough today. Like I'm turning into
better than a bun in the oven.
Well, you never know. Are you a biologist? I may be pregnant. How do you know that I'm not?
You're right. Sorry.
This is Joe Biden's America. All things are possible except a functioning democracy, an economy that's not going to fall apart, and using our own fossil fuels. I got to stop talking. They don't like when I talk about that shit on this platform. So, look at Al Dan. Dude, I'm on team Al Dan. He says, "What fresh hell is this? Spice Girls? I think I landed on the wrong team somehow or stream somehow." Yeah, this is exactly why I tried to. You just roll with it. You embrace the horror, as they say. Oh, look at what's going on over here. You guys in chat. All right, you guys, thank you for a wonderful Tuesday. We got through about half the articles that I had, which is great. I wouldn't have changed anything. I like the pace of tonight. As ever, I'm honored. I am honored to get to work with my friends. And we may not always agree. We certainly don't see the world the same way. We don't see shows the same way. But we come here just to hang out and be friends and to talk entertainment. And we're lucky enough that you want to watch us. Hail to Zaxx. Hail to the one and only Purple Valkyrie. Hail to Steve, Prophet of the Dragon. And hail to Jed, the Hollywood Scholar. Thank you to every everyone who has been in chat. Thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you to all of my channel to Varen. I will be updating the role list because more people have joined. Probably in the middle of the month is the cycle that I'm going to be on. So next week. Thank you to everyone who gave super chats. We talk about it all the time, but YouTube is being especially weird and stingy with all the work that we do for them. So we really appreciate it when you join us live, and every little bit helps. So thank you very much. But mostly, we're just glad to be able to spend the evening with you and have some fun and have the fellowship that we can across the miles. Good night to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and play us out, and I know how to do this and drop you guys out of the... Yeah, see, I don't know how to do this. Look at what I'm doing. You think I know how to do this by now? Thanks to everybody who's been here. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Please check out Zaxx's show on Thursday night. Check out Purple Valkyrie and I talking about woo-woo tomorrow. Check out Steve whenever he decides to actually make a video on YouTube. And be sure to subscribe to Jed, the Hollywood Scholar. It's great to see you guys. Have a good evening. Take care.
Good night.